So we're like 8, 9 videos into our Advent journey with Joseph, and something interesting just occurred to me. If St. Joseph was around to watch these, he would probably hate them. Now, I don't say that because I think we've claimed anything crazy about him or gotten it all wrong or anything like that. I don't think that's been the case. No, I'd say that St. Joseph might hate something like this simply because it's about St. Joseph, so completely and totally focused on him. And the thing about the person and character of Joseph that we get in the Gospels is that it sure seems like he's not the kind of guy looking for that attention, not the kind of guy searching for the spotlight. He never made himself the center of things, focusing instead always on the lives of Mary and Jesus. And so today, whether or not he'd be a huge fan of it, I think it's important for us to consider this, to look at this aspect of St. Joseph, who was so supportive and caring all the while being so ready to forego the renown. We'll look at St. Joseph today, a father in the shadows. As a father, the man of the house, the head of the Holy Family, you can imagine a version of this whole thing in which St. Joseph was front and center, ready to do everything, to be the star, to take all the credit for however it went. He, after all, had big responsibility in taking care of his family and making sure that God's plan could move forward. He could have been out there in the limelight speaking his piece. He could have been this unreserved, uninhibited figure. But as we've seen so often with these St. Joseph could-haves, he wasn't that. He chose not to be, which in this case meant that instead of being up front and in the light, he was back a bit. A father in the shadows. A father not always seen, not always heard, but a strong, important piece of this story nonetheless. In Patris Corde, Pope Francis takes some time to reflect on this aspect of Joseph. And as part of his thoughts, he writes these words. The Pope says, "Our world today needs fathers. It has no use for tyrants who would domineer others as a means of compensating for their own needs. It rejects those who confuse authority with authoritarianism, service with servility, discussion with oppression, charity with a welfare mentality, power with destruction. Every true vocation is born of the gift of oneself, which is the fruit of mature sacrifice." Based on the Pope's words, there is a version of being a father that is simply about power, about being important, about throwing your weight around and making sure that everyone knows you're the top dog. But what Pope Francis is saying is that really, what we need more and more in our world is not that kind of fatherhood. Being a father, like truly living an authentic role and vocation of fatherhood, it should instead be about being willing to sacrifice, being patient, allowing your children to succeed and fail, all while being there not with a demanding, overbearing control, but with a loving, gentle guidance if and when it's required. And in his subtle way, that's the fatherhood of St. Joseph, a fatherhood in the shadows, or maybe we look at it a different way, a fatherhood just off screen. Like when we're filming these videos, do me a favor for a sec. Cut the backgrounds, the fake background, zoom out a little bit. You see around us, we've got stuff going on. When we're filming, we've got lights, we've got the green screen, we've got mics, we've got people helping just off to the side, and they're helping with filming and editing, all sorts of things. It's critical, all critical to make this work. Also important, and usually, almost always just off screen, we have these people, we have these things that are pivotal, that are offering support and direction and whatever help I might need to get this done. But doing it in a way that isn't seen. This couldn't be done without them, and yet it happens in a way where, all their hard work is done without seeking out the credit. And that's kind of Joseph. That's St. Joseph in his fatherhood, working off screen, fathering in the shadows, putting in the love, the care, the everything, just doing it. From a place where he's not pursuing the credit, not seeking that attaboy recognition. And to do it that way, it takes great love. It takes humility. It takes sacrifice. And that's the kind of father St. Joseph was always ready to be. The kind of father, like our Pope was saying, that our world really needs more of. Because that kind of father, can be such an inspiration to others, can be a humble guide that will lead sons and daughters and plenty of others to see the difference that can be made in supporting other people's lives. St. Joseph reminds us that those who appear hidden or in the shadows can still play an incomparable role in the lives of those others and truly in the history of salvation. So we hope today that we'll have the courage at times to allow ourselves to step back like that, to allow others into the limelight, or to put them front and center on the screen, all the while doing whatever we can to help by caring for and supporting